or quote unquote clues. Now let's talk about what if any clues were observed in this defendant during his offense doing on the.
I showed 5 clues, those of which were he stopped and walking. He missed heel to toe, he stepped off line, he made an improper turn, and took the wrong number of steps. After taking the initial first pass of 6 steps, he stopped and refused to finish the test from there.
Now, not unlike with the HGN, when you're explaining and observing the defendant during the instructional phase of the walk and turn, are there other things that you're observing?
What do you mean?
Are there other signs or indicators intoxicated aside from the food? In other words, for instance, if someone you have to repeat the instructions over and over, or they seem confused.
Yes, sir, everyone's different, but yes, you do take that into consideration.
And in this case, were there other indicators outside of those standardized clues that you observed during the walk and turn administration?
He still continued to keep his eyes shut. It looked like he had trouble staying awake.
Did you have to explain the instruction to him on more than one occasion?
Yes, sir.
And what was that indicative of, in your opinion? In your mind?
He's under the influence of some form of alcohol or a narcotic.
Did he see? Is it fair to say he seemed confused?
Yes, he seemed confused.
Now, the final component of the standardized skill sobriety test is what test?
One leg stand test.
And give an overview of the one leg stand. What does that consist of?
So basically, I would have somebody stand straight with both feet on the ground, their hands by their side. They can pick either the left or right foot, it doesn't matter. And I would ask them to hold it approximately 6 to 8 inches off the ground with your foot pointed out and allow for me 1001, 1002, 1003, and so forth until I fill in the stop.
And did you explain that in that way to this defendant?
Yes,
And did he attempt to perform the test?
yes, he did.
And what, if any, clues did you observe in this defendant?
Well, I performed the one leg stand test. He never lifted his foot off the ground. He held his heel on the ground while raising his front foot, the front of his foot. When he counted, he miscounted at the count of 8 and just stopped the test.
Now, these tests, again, we call them standardized skill sobriety tests. This is not something that you came up with, correct?
Correct.
It's not something that the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department came up with, correct?
Correct.
These tests are, in fact, are they only used in Jefferson County?
No, sir.
Are they only used in Texas?
No, sir.
What about throughout the United States?
Yes, sir.
And they've been used for, is it fair to say, many years?
Yes, sir. As long as I've been a police officer.
And after you observed his performance on the standardized skill sobriety test, what if any determination did you make?
I had reasonable suspicion based on what I observed and the clues that he showed based on the initial contact, and handed me an inspection card instead of a driver's license, the open container, his physical actions, and then what I observed during the test. I felt that he was under the influence of some form of alcohol or narcotic.
And did you arrest him at that point?
Yes, sir. He was placed under arrest.
And did you give him an opportunity to submit to either a breath test or a blood test?
Yes, sir. I read him a copy of the DIC-24 and requested breath and or blood. He was given the option.
Now the DIC-24, is that shorthand or is that shorthand for a form produced by the Texas Department of Public Safety?
Yes, sir.
Essentially, what does that form advise the defendant of?
I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to paraphrase.
But nevertheless, is it something you read to a defendant prior to asking him to consent to either a breath test or blood?
Yes, sir.
And did you read that form to this defendant?
Yes, sir.
And then what, if anything, did he indicate?
We consented to providing a specimen.
A specimen of what?
I believe breath.
And you transport this defendant to the jail.
Yes, sir.
Is the breath, the machine, the intoxilizer machine that takes the sample of breath, is that located at the jail?
Yes, sir.
Or was it located in the jail in 2018?
Yes, sir. It's located in the jail.
So you delivered him to the jail for the purpose of his agreed submission of the breath specimen.
Yes, sir.
In addition, well, you wouldn't have administered that breath test, right? Wouldn't have been.
No, sir. I'm not certified for that.
Now, did you also have an occasion to, did you seek any other means of obtaining, evidence from Mr. Finley?
What do you mean?
I know it's not a guesswork question. Did you do anything else in order to determine if he had any, substances in
Other than the home scene, initial investigation and breast testing.
Let me ask you this, one. Did you seek a search warrant?
Did I see the search warrant?
Did you seek,
Yes,
obtain
sir, I
a
see
search warrant?
the search warrant.
What did you do in order to obtain a search warrant?
There's a standard operating procedure where we have a computer inside the jail bookend where we fill out his information, my information, the same stuff that I explained to y'all that I observed on the side of the road. At that point, it's sent to a judge that's on call. During this incident, it was Judge Lively. They review it, and if they feel that there's enough evidence for a search warrant to be issued, they will sign off on it, and that's what happened in this case.
And a search warrant for what? What are you seeking to obtain pursuant to the search?
Blood specimen.
And so you sought and obtained a search warrant to obtain a specimen of the defendant's blood in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
And the judge signed that search warrant?
Yes, sir.
Was a specimen of the defendant's blood obtained?
Yes, sir.
Where was it taken?
The Southeast Texas Medical Center.
And was it taken, who was it taken by?
The nurse that took it, his name was Eric. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Kromecki, I believe is his last name.
Were you present when the specimen of the blood was taken?
Yes, sir.
In fact, is there a kit that is used in order to obtain that specimen of blood?
Yes, sir. The state provided it.
And did you provide to the nurse to obtain that specimen?
Yes, sir.
And when it was drawn in your presence.
Yes, sir.
And what happened to that specimen of blood after it was drawn?
There's like another operating procedure. This is the actual specimen kit right here. When you open it, the integrity is broken. And so I'll provide the nurse, the vials are in here. He'll complete his side of this procedure. I'll fill out paperwork and sign it. As soon as he's done, I'll put a piece of evidence tape over the vial and then I'll autograph it. And then it's placed in here and then I seal it with red tape. And then it's placed in the evidence lock, refrigerator in our office before our evidence clerks take it to the lab for the test.
And this area where it's placed in the refrigerator, is it a secure area? Did just anybody walk in there?
No, sir, there's only, and I'm not gonna say who, I don't have a clue, but Captain Sue Kelly is the only one, as of now, that has access to that.
But again, just no one off the street back in 2018 could just walk in there.
No.
Is it fair to say it was a restricted area?
Restricted, yes, sir.
Did you put any unique markings or identifying information on the kit?
The date, and I autographed it, or initialed it, the date.
Now, what's your understanding of what happens to the blood specimen after it is taken and it is stored in the refrigeration in that area there at the sheriff's department?
Were you asking?
Where does the blood specimen end up?
I believe it's taken to the crime lab. In this case, with it being a DWI, I believe it's sent over to the state.
And sent over to them for what purpose?
For testing for narcotic substance and stuff.
And when they're done with their testing, what's your understanding of what happens to that specimen?
It's sent back to our evidence clerk with results.
And is there any reason to believe that that process did not happen with regard to this case and that specimen taken from the defendant?
I have no reason to believe it.
Is there any reason to believe that other than what was necessary to test and analyze the specimen, that the blood specimen was otherwise tampered with or altered?
No, I have no reason to believe that.
The specimen that came back from the lab, did it bear those unique identifiers or unique identifying information that was on it when you submitted it to evidence?
I don't have that in front of me.
In other words, the specimen that you have there in front of you,
Yes, sir.
does it still have whatever unique information you put on it, either the defendant's name, case number,
Yes, sir.
date, it still have that on
It
it?
has an evidence tag that I filled out. Yes, sir. And then it actually has a chain of custody from who took it after our.
How did this specimen get, well, once it's brought back from the lab, how is it stored until it's time to come in?
I'm not sure.
Well, certainly it's not stored anywhere. Is it stored somewhere where just the general public has access to it?
No, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't notice.
Again, is it restricted access?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any reason to believe that the blood specimen in this case, well, what did you bring with you today?
The blood specimen inside the box.
The blood specimen that you've been testifying to that was taken from this defendant back on April the 13th, 2018.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any reason to believe that it has been altered or tampered with?
No, sir. I didn't believe with that.
That may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Detective Hargrove, I'm showing you with the mark, state's exhibit number, state exhibit, letter A. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize that to be?
An
The opposite. Oh, you recognize, did I
A.
label
Blood
it?
specimen.
This is the blood specimen that you've been testifying about
Yes, sir.
here today. Yes, Your Honor, I offer state's exhibit A. You know what? Shoot, numbers, right? It's a letters.
Yeah.
State's exhibit number 1 is what I'll call it. For purpose of the record, I'm taking the state's exhibit A label off, and I'm putting state's exhibit number 1 on the same question, Detective Hargrove. State's exhibit number 1, do you recognize it?
Yes, sir. The evidence of the testimony.
Lawrence, time out, states 1. For purposes of the record, I'm tendering to Mr. Ross for his inspection.
Objection. Okay. State's exhibit number 1 is admitted.
Were you equipped with any recording devices back on April 13, 2010?
Yes, sir.
What devices were those?
Body camera and I believe in-car footage from our program.
Let's talk about your body camera, or what's referred to as body worn camera. Was it operating correctly that day?
Yes, sir.
Was the operator yourself capable of properly operating that equipment?
Yes, sir.
Did it capture the encounter between you and the defendant, Ricky Turner, that day?
Yes, sir.
Have you reviewed that footage?
Yes, sir.
When did you last review it?
30 minutes before trial started.
Was it unaltered, in the same condition as it was the day it was recorded?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
Detective Hargrove, I am showing you what's marked state's exhibits number 2, state's exhibit number 3. Do you recognize those?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize those to be?
The DVD copy made of the body camera and the video from our program.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd offer state's exhibits numbers 2 and 3, and for purposes of the record, opportunity to Mr. Ross for his inspection.
Judge, no objection other than I think Mr. Coleman and I have an agreement that there's a portion that we're going to mute and we'll show that to the jury that will contain some extraneous information.
Okay. State's exhibit 2 and 3 admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor,
Yes.
I can get the equipment to him.
Yeah, I think it's connected to that. Need Edgar?
Somebody who's more capable than you.
Okay. Could you, see if you can contact Edgar? What we can do, let's take a little 5-minute break so that they can get that going. Y'all can, have a seat in the hallway. Okay, we're going to please stand. I think it's, I know you gotta disconnect that sometime. We'll be in recess.
The last time.
We want to have an
Okay. I'll just do it from here. Okay. Jefferson County Code Law number 2 is back in session, clause number 322493. Let the record reflect that Mr. Rojas, your client is raising his hand. Maybe you need to go.
I just need to.
Can you be excused for restroom use?
Yes.
And again, don't talk to anybody after.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
I want to look at it.
This is, court is back in session in clause number 322493, case of style state of Texas versus Ricky Robert Turner. Let the record reflect that the jury is not present in the courtroom. Mr. Rojas, Mr. Turner's attorney, and the state's attorney, Mr. Coleman, Mr. Rojas, you have something to bring before the court?
Yes, Judge, there are some portions on the video that refer to, I think, an outstanding warrant and some extraneous offenses, some previous convictions of Mr. Turner. We would ask that those portions of the video be muted. And I think we have some timestamps. Mr. Coleman knows exactly where they are.
We've agreed that starting at about 9:01, 9 minutes and 1 second into the video, the first video there's two videos, Judge. The first video that I'll refer to ends in the numbers 6050. About 9 minutes into that video and 1 second, there's a reference to a quote unquote warrant. I'll be happy to mute that section for a couple of seconds to make sure that the jury doesn't hear that. That same video, Judge, about 11 minutes into that video, there's a reference to the defendant's criminal history, and I'm happy to mute that section there. And then there's another video on a second disc that I refer to as ending in a file number 2350. There's been no indication by defense counsel that there's any portion of that video that he wants me to mute.
Okay, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And one other thing I want to put on the record is while we've agreed to the mutation of the video at 9 minutes and 1 second in and at 11 minutes in, I'm not representing to the court or anybody that there's no other portion of this video. I mean, Mr. Rojas is suggesting there's any other portion that we should mute. I will endeavor my best to keep out the extremes, but I just want to make sure I'm not representing to the court that this is it. I mean, that there might not be something else inadvertent.
Okay. I mean, Mr.
That's our
Rojas.
understanding, Judge.
Yeah. Okay. He's viewed.
I'm not.
He's viewed the
If
video.
there's something else, we'll hold it against.
Okay. Now, you may be seated. Let the record reflect that the Court is back in session to cause number 322-493, State of Texas versus Ricky Robert Turner. And let the record reflect that Mr. Turner is present in court with his attorney, Mr. Charlie Rojas, and the state is present with Assistant District Attorney Tommy Colvin. Let the record also reflect that the jury is now present in the courtroom. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, you may proceed.
Permission to publish State's Exhibit number 2, Judge.
Yes, you have the court's permission.
How you doing?
Who's that speaking, the detective?
That's me.
All right, sir. And which vehicle, are you approaching?
Mr. Turner's vehicle.
All right. Who are we looking at there?
Mr. Turner.
Is your paper license? You got it marked, there you go. That's your inspection, you got your license? I ain't your license.
Just retrieved an item from inside that vehicle. What was that?
It's open container of alcohol.
Did that, open container, Mike's Hard Lemonade you testified to?
Yes, sir.
We'll work on that in just a bit.
There's like some background noise, detective. What do you attribute that?
I recall it probably being pretty windy that night.
What is it, don't be around? Lay it right there. Put your hands like, oh, my hand, guns on you, dude. Sure. Yeah, the lies are so weird. Is that, do you have any other? Search, make sure. Come on back here.
What are the observations that you made, at that point?
Just appeared to still be confused.
I mean, what made it look like he was confused there? What did you ask him to do?
Still trying to obtain a driver's license.
Did you ask him to walk back to the car?
Yes, sir.
Did he immediately do that?
No, sir, there was a delay.
Did he appear to go in a different direction?
He just kind of stood there. Okay.
So just gonna lean up against my car. Here, back up a little bit. I don't want you to fall. So just lean up against my car. Come on. You got it? What's your ID? Let me see that. I'll get it for you. I seen your social security card. That's all I need. Where do you work at? Do what? There it is. Here, hold that. Here you go. I'll check you my social security number. You good right there, man? You get your set.
Did you run his, identification?
I believe so, yes.
Did you have any issues with, him, with his identification? In other words, with him saying who he was?
No, sir.
So, I'll skip, you're on the court permission, I'll skip forward. Okay.
They go for
Did you, search the vehicle?
I do not recall if I searched the vehicle. I did ask to obtain consent to look for other alcohol inside the vehicle.
I'll just check it out. Are you searching the vehicle at this point?
Yes, sir.
Did you find any other contraband in the vehicle?
I don't recall.
What's that on the, seat? Can you see that?
You're referring to the bottle?
Yeah.
It looks like an unopened bottle of liquor.
Okay. If you would have found any other contraband or anything illegal, would you have noted that in your office?
Yes, sir, I would have. And if that bottle would have been open, I would have poured it out and then secured the bottle's evidence from my camera before putting it back in his vehicle.
After referring to your report, did you find anything, any other illegal substances or contraband in the vehicle?
No, sir.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to fast forward through this part of the video.
You may go for
Yeah, all right. I go here for start.
He has a warrant at Belmont for.
Is that another officer who arrived on scene?
Yes, sir.
Or she say? Where's that? Where's that handbook stuff at? Yeah, here, we'll get this. Will you move my title? What's that Oh, hey, over here, turn.
In the market.
Pursuant to our agreement, I will mute the sound on this next portion.
Okay.
This is 27. All you drank was that Mike's Hard Lemonade that was on front of my car? That's it? How long ago did you drink that? Just now? Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from?
From New York, so.
Your aunt's house, where's that at? Lumberton? And where are you headed? Where's that at? Where's your mama's house at? Where is your mama's house at?
Oh, I'm trying to.
Where's your mama live at? What city? Mama? Okay, you know where you're at? Where? You're almost there.
You road.
Close. Good enough. So, have you ever done a field sobriety test for drinking ever in your life? No, sir. Well, the first test we're gonna do, if you don't mind doing them, we're gonna run through these tests real quick and make sure you're able to operate that big. Okay, so if you understand that, the first test we're gonna do is gonna be the HDN test, the horizontal gaze stack test. Basically, you ever see somebody run their finger in front of somebody's face for flying around? That's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna, what I'm doing, I want you to keep your feet by your side like I'm doing right now. Go ahead and do it.
Pursuant to our agreement, I'm gonna mute the next section.
Okay.
Speak second.
Hands by your side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pin, I'm gonna put your face right here. I want you to follow the tip of your eyes and your eyes. I'm gonna keep your head straight, okay? Stand. Open your eyes a bit more. Open your eyes a little bit. I can't test them. Open your eyes. Got it. There you go. Follow the tip of my pin. You ready? Let's go. Yeah, pretty good. You take any pills today while you've been drinking? Just can't keep your eyes open. You want to face this way? Face this way. Ready? What about that? Open your eyes. Good now, go in. All right, you still have to open your eyes. I got all my lights out of your eyes. Why can't you open? There you go. Ready? Okay, let's try another one. All right. Go back over here. Over here, Mr. Turner. See where that line and marker is right there? Stand right there. Stand right here. Mr. Turner. Stand right there. See my ball shining out? What I need you to do when you stand there, I want you to stand on that line, push right your left foot. So that's how I'm doing. Yeah, right in front of your left foot, heel to toe, and I want you to hold your hands by your side. Just stand right in front of your left foot, heel to toe. But I'm doing it right now. That's it. Go ahead and do it. You ready? All right, when I tell you to begin, you're gonna take a series of 9 steps, heel to toe with your arms by your side. While you're taking your steps, you're gonna count aloud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On your 9th step, you're going to take several small steps back to your left to come back. 9 heel toe steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just like I did. It's pretty simple if you understand the instructions. Do you understand them? You're ready. If you understand them, you're ready to begin. You're going up to. Let me explain it to you again. You good? See what you got. Let me explain it to you again, or you got it? I want you to put your right foot in front of you. You have back surgery now? All right, well, you want this shouldn't affect your back surgery because I'm not asking you to hold yourself up or anything like this. So basically all you gotta do is just walk like you normally would, just like I'm doing right now. You just gotta keep your hands by your side. Look, you even got a line to walk down. I got you on this crack segment, okay? All right, so you go ahead. You remember my instructions? Okay, well, if you remember them, you go ahead and begin. You don't remember my instructions, do you? All right, well, look. Supposed to stand, we're not going to through your left foot, just like I'm doing, okay? Look, now when I tell you to begin, you're gonna hold your hands by your side, you're gonna take a series of 9 steps. Heel toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hang on. You're gonna take some small steps back. Come back. 9 more heel toe steps. All the way down. Heel toe. You got it. All right. Yep, you're ready. Good. Give you the front again. Give you the front again. Right now, we're trying to get the fastest pass. So you want to give it a go? Can you explain it to you one more time? Or you kind of remember? If you remember, you can begin. Basically, look, you see this line, this cracking line, see it right here? That's a straight line. That's how straight I'm going to go here. 9 steps. See this 9 steps? Do serious small step left, go back 9 heel toe steps, count your steps all out. That's I'll explain that to you through several times here. You should be up right to pick that up. You ready to begin? You can. Count your steps. Keep going, you're good. Yeah, count while you're walking. Sorry? What did you just ask? Yeah, slow now, you stop. Back over here, Miss Turner. Back over here. Stand right there with my ball shining. Take 9 little toe steps down that cement line. You want to try it? Or you want to go on a third test? We're going to try a third test. Start. What you just say? I can't hear you. Whiz ball. You want to try the test, or you want me going to the third? Okay. You want to try this one? Stand right here, face me. Can you hold a foot off the ground like this with your toe pointed out and your hands by your side, counting 1001, 1002, 1003? You ready to go? All right, begin. I'll tell you when to stop. All right, keep on going. All right, that's good, Mr. Turner. All right, last test is walk break on my toe. Change the toe. Bring it over back. Set in. Sure you understand why you're being arrested, huh? All right. All from the same page. You got no weed or nothing in the pocket, so if you have any drugs, we tell you. I believe you haven't smelled anything. All right, come back over there.
The court information, I'll have to pass one.
You have a question for me?
Detective Hargrove, what happens after you arrest a suspect? What happens to the vehicle?
It's impounded.
Do you inventory it before it's impounded?
Yes, sir.
Drug specimen from you.
When you inventory the vehicle, sometimes they exercise discretion in returning items to or belongings to the defendant or suspects.
Yes, sir.
One day, did you write an indication?
I think it brother, I got your cash for you.
Don, warrant in the part of county
Take your pocket, okay?
or criminal initiative class.
You'll probably need that to get you out. I got your cell phone, wallet.
If you ultimately transport the defendant to the jail.
Yes, sir.
And from jail, did you transport the defendant to the hospital for the blood test?
Yes, sir.
And that was after you secured the search warrant, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, permission to publish State's Exhibit number 3.
You have the court's permission.
And that interaction at the hospital regarding the blood draw, was it captured on your body worn camera?
Yes, sir, it was.
Any trim, garbage. What you got? Here's when I drive around or. Oh, no, you don't know the, I got some information out here for speed. You want to go like that? Good. Take a look, good. Well, do that, yeah, drive while suspicion, drive while intoxicated. And you refuse the consent blood draw to jail, so I have to bring you here to the hospital with a warrant signed by a judge to get your blood instead. Yeah, no, you wouldn't. You told me 3 times you wouldn't. Then the nurse explained it to him, still wouldn't, so we have to remember there. Why? You consent to do it there, you don't, we come here. I mean, it's that simple. But we're here now, so it don't matter. You coverage, all right?
Is that your cell phone?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't know whose that is.
Is that the Star Wars thing?
It sounds like it.
$22.98.
Y'all should tell Garza, 4165 Full Della Road, apartment number 2, Beaumont, Nashville.
You have RN, right? Yes, sir.
What are you doing there, detective?
Just fill out the integrity seal for the blood vial.
Coming back on.
Yeah, boss. Cool. Grab the line.
Is this the stopper or is that the stopper?
Which one you looking for?
No, I gotta put this over the top of the stopper.
That's the stopper right there. You put that green part. After I put my name and credentials on there.
Gotcha.
My initials are EK, if you want to follow on there real quick. You'll put them on the top of that gray. And we'll slip it in here and put the blue top over the top. There you go. There.
I appreciate you making this easy.
Oh, no problem.
We used to have to go to St. E, man. I'd be sitting there all night long.
You know, worked at St. E for 10 years. Baptist for 6. I worked at Houston for 2. I've been here for 2.
What did you just do there, Detective?
Seal the, blood vial with the integrity tape.
And it's, integrity tape, is it, what's it intended to show?
That I'm the last person who sealed that vial, and I don't know where it goes after that, but the next person who opens it up, I'm assuming for testing, will cut my tape, sign a form, and then they will cover it up with their own tape after that to show, chain of custody.
Yes.
Be on our room. You get a room on here's what it's must be yours. No gas to come from. They get the big buns, real good, so they'll be honest with the city of Lincoln there. So you get you going to the rest of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Last one here.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Get it right down, so I can spell it. So my,
I'll put it right here.
all right, cool. Yeah, I went with 125 because that's what time when you were drawing. You're like me, you forget everything.
You work now, it's hard. You'll sign there, you put his name there and whatever you go.
The doctor got clear.
Dr. B will give you a second. I'll go to the brothers there. Look at that. 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the doctor clearing, that's all I have on this, Jim. You mentioned the doctor clearing, and what does that mean?
Basically, they just run through a series of questions. I guess it's a preliminary deal.
And, what's clear, quote unquote, clear in this thing?
Yes, sir. He didn't, doctor didn't look for any reason.
And, what happened next?
Transported him back to the Jefferson County Correctional Facility where he was released to jail staff.
Without incident?
Yes, sir.
And, did, you prepare a report in this case?
Yes, sir.
Did you prepare the report in this case at or near the time when these events took place?
Yes, sir, shortly after.
Were the events still fresh in your mind at the time, when you prepared your report?
Yes, sir.
Did you review your report, prior to testifying here today?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did, your review of your report help to refresh your recollection?
You gotta
Yes.
put it on the screen, right?
Have you had any training during your career? May I approach this?
Yeah.
As it relates to, narcotics and, controlled substances? During your training and during your career, have you had an occasion to become familiar with cocaine?
Yes, sir.
Is cocaine considered to be a controlled substance?
Yes, sir, I believe it's been the group one's a stimulant.
And, during your training career, have you had an opportunity to become familiar with the substance? Forgive me for butchering this name, phenylcyclidine.
Yes, sir, in layman's terms, that's PCP.
And, what's your understanding? Is PCP a controlled substance?
Yes, sir, it is. I believe it's been the group one as well.
And, if you, I know you're not a medical professional, but if you are familiar or if you are aware, based on your training experience, what are some of the side effects with either of these substances?
What we've encountered, there's two different, routes it'll take in somebody ingested. One, they'll either be very, like a stimulant, they'll be up, very erratic, and then the other time it affects people, they're really slow, lethargic, can't keep their eyes open, stuff like that. Just like two different effects, depends on the person and the reaction they have to it.
Did you observe any of those being defended?
Yes, sir.
And
Well,
what behavior would that be?
Being lethargic, not being able to hold his eyes open, confusion, stuff of that nature.
Just our plan for this.
Let's do this here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. You can have a, go out to the hallway. If you need to use the restroom or anything like that, you can. Need some water or coffee, just let the bailiff know. Quarter being recessed. You may be seated. Court is back in session and calls number 322-493, case of South State of Texas versus Ricky Robert Turner. Let the record reflect that the jury is back in the courtroom. Mr. Turner is present, his attorney, Charlie Rojas is present, state is present, Assistant District Attorney, Attorney Tommy Coleman, and Attorney Lamar Johnson. Mr. Coleman, you've passed witness, is that correct?
That's right.
Mr. Rojas, are you ready to proceed?
Ready.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Detective Hargrove. How are you?
Good, sir, yourself?
Good. All right, so on the date in question, you say the reason you stopped him was because he was driving about 20 miles below the speed limit, correct?
That's what drew my attention to it.
Other than that, did you notice any other behavior that would cause you to promote?
No, sir, just observed his speed, made me run his license plate information and showed it expired, so I initiated a traffic stop based on that.
So he was driving within the lane, right? He didn't swerve.
No, sir, not that I observed.
Okay, he didn't go fast and slow down, go fast and slow down, any of that stuff. Right?
I didn't follow him long enough to observe it.
He didn't, didn't have an accident.
No, sir.
Didn't almost hit any other vehicles on the road, did he, that
No,
you
sir.
saw? So other than just driving slow, he appeared to be driving wrong.
From what I observed, yes.
Okay. And when you activated did you do the lights and siren, or just lights?
Just lights.
Just lights, and did he pull over immediately?
Yes, sir.
They didn't, keep going or anything?
Yes, sir.
So if somebody doesn't pull, if you just activate your lights and then somebody doesn't pull over, do you then go to the siren?
It depends on how long they travel, but you can usually tell if they're gonna run or whatnot, if they're not paying attention, so not commonly, no.
Okay, but you didn't have to use the siren for Ricky, right?
No, sir.
And then when he pulled over in a safe spot on the road, right?
Yes,
Okay, he wasn't leaving his car halfway in the lane of traffic.
no, sir.
It was all the way over on short of this. And that's his safety and for yours, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you found an open container of Mike's hardware. And on the video, you asked him, is that all you drank? And he said that I don't know if we could hear the response, what he said.
I can't recall from the video, and like I said, it's been 4 years since it's happened. My report reflects that when I asked him that, he said that's all he had drank was what was missing from that Mike's Hardware.
And then you poured out whatever was left in that bottle, you poured it out, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was more than half a bottle, right?
I don't recall.
Okay, if the video showed that it's more than half, that people have the reason to disagree.
No, sir.
And then you start doing the field sobriety tests.
Yes, sir.
I think you said the first point is the HGN with a pen and you're looking for nystagmus jumping around.
Yes, sir.
And you weren't able to complete those tests on him.
No, sir.
And as Mr. Coleman was talking to you about, you're looking for certain clues, looking for nystagmus before 45 degrees, sustained nystagmus at 45 degrees, nystagmus before 45 degrees. But again, you couldn't observe, you didn't have a chance to observe anything.
Yes, sir.
So, but when you're giving him the instructions, you're asking him to stand still and to the side
Yes, sir.
and look at you. And you tell him you're gonna have a pen, you want him to follow the pen with his eyes and his eyes on, right? And you've given these instructions to many people over the years, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
And after you give most people that instruction, what would you say, well, is it common for most people when you move the pen, the first thing they do is jerk their head around like that? Is that a common reaction for most people?
No, sir.
It's not?
No, sir.
Okay, a lot of people do that. Some people do this?
Some people.
Okay. But Mr. Turner didn't do that, right?
No, sir.
Okay, his head was looking straight at you all the time. He didn't ever move his arms when you're giving instruction or
No, sir.
test. He wasn't swaying while you were giving him instruction or administering the test, was he?
He was swaying, but not to the extent where you can really tell and make a difference off of it.
Okay, so that's,
And the wind was blowing, yes.
okay, so that's not really something that would indicate to you whether he was intoxicated one way or the other, right?
He appeared to have unstable balance because that's several times I asked him if he needed me to put him up against my car so he didn't fall and whatnot.
Okay, so as far as the HGN, and you're looking for clues, and the clues will determine whether or not there's mistakes.
Yes, sir.
But based on what you and Ricky did, you don't know whether there was mistakes or not, do you?
No, sir, I couldn't.
The next test is the walk and turn,
Yes, sir.
and the walk and turn, again, you have some stand in a spot, feet in front of each other. And one of the things that you didn't ask him, but came out on video, he offered that on his own, that he had a back injury.
Yes, sir.
You saw that? Okay, have you ever had a back injury yourself?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, have you ever observed people with a back injury?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in your experience observing other people with back injury, does it affect their balance?
It could, yes, sir.
Does it affect the way they walk?
I couldn't testify that because I don't know for sure. I've never experienced it.
So you don't know whether or not somebody walks a little bit more gingerly when their back's hurting?
It's possible, yes, sir.
Okay. But he offered you that he had back surgery, right?
Yes, he did say that.
Okay. But you continue to give those tests anyway, right?
I continue to get him to administer. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And again, on the walk and turn, you're looking for clues. I think you said you found 5 clues.
Yes, sir.
You found, he stopped while he was walking.
Would you like me to read them to you?
Well, I'm gonna read it.
No, I
I'm
don't know if you
gonna
have
tell
it.
you, so is that one of the clues you found?
Uh,
That he stopped?
Let me find it real quick. Yes, sir, that is one of them.
Okay, and then the next clue I think you found was that he missed heel toe.
Yes, sir.
And the third clue was that he stepped off the line. Fourth clue was that he did the improper turn.
Yes, sir.
And then the fifth clue was that he did the wrong number of steps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if there were any other clues, you would have noted those in your report, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, but you're also looking, when you administer the walk and turn test, you're looking for whether or not he's able to keep his balance during the instructions, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's him standing there with his hands by his side. And he was able to keep his balance,
Well,
right?
he never put his right foot in front of his left foot.
Okay,
So,
so
but standing postures like he was in his normal posture, yes, he can get back.
he was able to keep his balance. Another clue you look for is whether or not he starts, or his instructions are finished, right? And you didn't note that in your report, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. Another report is that, or another clue you're looking for is whether or not he has to use his arms to balance, right?
Yes, sir.
And he didn't do that, did he?
No, sir, not that I know.
So he did something right on the walk and turn, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Even though, as he told you, he had back surgery, he had back problems.
Yes, sir.
Some things he was able to do, some things he wasn't. The one leg stand test was next.
Yes, sir.
And again, it is, if you got a back injury and if you have trouble walking, when you think you'd also have trouble lifting up your.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But, you get that test anyway.
Yeah.
And the clues on, I may need you to tell me what the clues were on that. What are the clues you found on the one leg stand?
He never lifted his foot off the ground and then he miscounted.
In this count, okay. And those are also, there are also other things you're looking for in the one leg stand, right?
Yes, sir, such as swaying and using your arms for balance and whatnot.
And did he sway when you were giving him the instructions?
No, sir.
And did he use his arm for balance when you were given?
No, sir.
Okay. So again, on the one leg stand, he did do something right.
Correct, yes, sir.
What, another clue you look for is hopping. Was he hopping around?
No, sir. It was not.
Um, Now, you gave him an opportunity to give a breath test,
Yes, sir.
and he actually consented to that, didn't
I believe so.
he? Okay, went down to the jail, and there was an issue with the machine, or an issue with the force of breath, or something, those results came back invalid.
The deputy, I don't remember what the results were. The deputy said the tests were then conclusive because it was an error of the machine. So I don't know if the test was actually ran or not. I'm not certain.
And then you sent off the result.
Yeah, I requested for a blood specimen, which I believe he refused if I had to fill out a warrant.
And then you got the warrant and took the blood sample.
Yes.
Did you ever see those blood results?
What do you mean?
Do you know what the results of those blood?
Me personally, I don't know the exact numbers, but I have read a report that showed what was in the system.
Okay. You also had, you say you got training on, narcotics, right?
Yes, sir.
So. Okay, when you took him to jail, before you did the breath test, before you did the blood test, what were you thinking? Were you thinking that it was alcohol?
The alcohol, based on what I observed, there'd be an open bottle, but at one point you hear me during the test asking if he's taking any pills or anything like that. So I couldn't prove what he was taking, but I did have suspicion there was something else other than alcohol involved.
Okay. And when you inventoried the car, you looked for other evidence of other
It
drugs.
was in plain view during the report, yes.
I'm sorry, what
I
was
didn't have probable cause to actually search the vehicle for narcotics, no.
No, I'm talking about after he was arrested and you inventoried the car.
Yes,
Okay, at that point, you can go in and look anywhere, right, in the car?
technically, yes, sir.
Okay, and you didn't find any evidence that there was any narcotics,
No, sir.
didn't find any pills,
No, sir.
didn't find any traces of cocaine, powder cocaine?
No, sir.
You didn't find a pipe that's used to smoke cocaine or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. Um. And. I'm just gonna say PCP. I can't say the other. PCP. How is PCP usually ingested?
They'll either take a marijuana cigarette and lace it and smoke it, and really the only way I've ever seen ingested. There's other ways, I'm sure there is, but I'm not familiar with it.
And when you pulled up to the car, you didn't smell, and when, does PCP have a distinctive smell odor?
It's strong.
And so does marijuana,
Yes, sir.
and when you pulled up to Ricky's car, you didn't smell anything.
No, sir, but the wind was blowing.
Okay, and when you inventoried the car after the arrest, you didn't find any traces of marijuana or inside the car, did it smell like PCP? You will agree with me that just because there are results that show that there was cocaine or PCP in somebody's system, that doesn't mean that they're still active in the system and have an impact on the way they behave, won't you?
I can't testify to that.
You don't know how long cocaine stays in the system?
No, sir.
You don't know how long PCP stays in
No,
the
sir.
system? What kind of training have you had in those cars?
Just 2 basic narcotic schools, 2 day long.
And what do they teach you
Basically surveillance videos, stuff of that nature, what we're looking into. Nothing in depth as far as the question you're asking.
there? Okay,
Basic drug identifiers, stuff of that nature.
okay, but you're able to tell us the effects that PCP.
From what I observed throughout my career, yes.
So Typically cocaine is a stimulant
Yes, sir.
and PCP is as well.
My son was classified as.
Okay, are you familiar with the Rodney King case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so Rodney King was on PCP, right?
Objection, Your Honor, this whole line of question about Rodney King, my objection is it's irrelevant.
I'm trying to see if he knows of the effects of PCP.
Objection sustained.
So you don't know what PCP does, how PCP usually affects somebody?
I've seen from my experience, yes. I think it does.
So in your experience, what have you seen?
Erratic behavior, stuff of that nature.
People tend to want to fight with the police?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they tend to exhibit superhuman traits in some, or think that they can,
Yes, sir.
okay. You didn't see any of that with Rick?
No, sir.
And cocaine, as we said, it's a stimulant for the most part. Have you seen people on cocaine behave they're hyper basically, right?
Yeah.
They're up and going around, they can't seem to settle down,
Correct, yes, sir.
right? That's not the.
No, sir.
How long have you been, with the sheriff's department?
Started at Lumberton in 2012 and transferred to the sheriff's office in 2015.
And when you said you're certified to do the field sobriety test
Yes, sir.
and you took a refresher course?
Yes, sir. We had the basic one during the police academy in 2011, and then at Lumberton, I believe, I'm not paraphrasing here. So it's either 2012 or 2013, I took a refresher course.
So from 2011 until 2018, when this stop took place, the only course you were taking was the one from 2011.
Or 12, when,
Or
no, it had been
2012.
2012 or 13, so yes, sir.
That was before the refresher.
Yes, sir.
Just, okay. Just a second, Your Honor.
Okay.
And the whole time you were dealing with Ricky out on the road and back at the jail and back at the hospital, he pretty much, he didn't give any problems, did he?
No, we had a good encounter with each other, yes.
Okay.
Other than the fact he went to jail.
Okay. And other than maybe fumbling around for his ID and maybe being a little incoherent on the road, he was able to pretty much follow the instructions you gave him, right?
I mean, I wouldn't consider it following.
I mean, he didn't give you any problems. He tried to, he didn't say, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Correct, yes, sir.
At any time during your encounter with him, did you feel that you were in danger?
No, sir.
That's what.
Mr. Coleman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Two follow-up questions. Detective Hargrove, did you base your decision to arrest this defendant solely on his performance on the SFSTs?
No, sir.
I mean, what did you base your opinion on?
What I observed, his actions when he handed me an inspection card instead of a driver's license, the open container, him admitting to having an alcoholic beverage before I stopped him. His actions when I asked him to exit the car, I had at one point asked him to sit on the hood of my vehicle because I didn't know if he was gonna fall down or whatnot. And then we went into the test following that. So he showed other observations that would lead me to believe, or reasonable suspicion that he was under the influence of some kind of narcotic or alcohol.
Yeah, you didn't force him to participate in those standardized field sobriety tests, right?
No, sir. At any point he decided I don't want to do it, I'd immediately stop the test.
So if his back was giving him trouble, then trouble to the extent that he could not perform well on the test, that was his option to continue or to discontinue.
Yes, it was.
Now, has it been your experience that subjects, defendants, people suspected of DWI that they're not always truthful about what or the amount of substance they have consumed?
That is very true.
Has it been your experience that maybe even in some instances, they underrepresent what they take
Yes, sir.
or what they consume?
Yes, sir.
Since the defense attorney asked you this question, I'll go down this road as well. What was, the defense attorney asked you, what was in his, quote unquote, in his system? I know you didn't perform the analysis, but since he asked you, what is your understanding of what was, quote unquote, in his system?
From the reports, it was cocaine and PCP.
You know what I mean? I approach.
Yes.
Well, actually, at this time, I'd like to offer State's Exhibit 4 pursuant to a certificate of analysis that was previously on file with the district clerk's office for the requisite time period, and I am tendering to defense counsel for his inspection. It's marked State's Exhibit 4.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 4 is admitted.
And lastly, Detective Hargrove, is it possible that the reason why you didn't smell either PCP or any other substance, marijuana included, is it possible that it was because it had been consumed or either all consumed or either consumed at a location other than in the vehicle?
Yes, sir, that's possible.
That's what.
Ms. Rojas?
You said at some point during the stop, you had to ask Ricky to lean on the car because he was losing it down.
Initially, when I had him exit the vehicle, yes, sir.
Okay, but again, while you were giving him the instruction, after you told him to stay still, he was able to do that.
Yes, sir.
At the time you say he was losing his balance, you had not told him to stand still or anything, right?
Yes, sir, that's true.
So when blood is sent off to the DPS lab, they analyze for various drugs and alcohol, right?
Yes, sir.
And if there was any alcohol indicate, or if there was any alcohol that was detected in Ricky's system, it would be on that report.
Yes, sir.
And if there's no alcohol reported, that means that there was no alcohol detected in the system, right?
Yes, sir.
That's
Just a follow-up question or two, Judge. Detective Hargrove, you understand through your training experience that alcohol metabolizes in the system, correct?
Yes, sir.
And just because there was no alcohol detected, doesn't necessarily mean that the defendant hadn't consumed alcohol, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, isn't it possible that it could have metabolized, in other words, made its way through the system through either urination or sweating it out in that trip?
Yes, sir, from the time of the stop and the withdrawal, yes, it's possible.
And you beat me to my next question, because, I mean, there had been a lapse in time between when you initially stopped this defendant and when the blood had been drawn, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you recall from you looking at your report, I mean, what are we talking about? How much time are we talking about?
About three and a half hours.
And during the 3.5 hours, it is possible, quite possible, that any detectable amount of alcohol in the system could have metabolized.
Yes.
Isn't it true that a person can be impaired through alcohol alone and drugs or drugs?
That's that.
Isn't it true that, I mean, does a person need to be impaired on alcohol alone?
No, sir.
I mean, for purposes of the driving while intoxicated law in the state of Texas, I mean, isn't it true that they can be impaired through either alcohol or drugs or a combination of the two?
Yes, sir. They impair your ability to operate a motor vehicle on public roadway. Yes, sir.
All right, no further questions.
Ms. Rojas?
You said it's true that alcohol can metabolize in the system, right?
Yes,
And that would be consistent with there being no alcohol in the system. Be negative.
what do you mean?
Sorry, objection, you know, that's a confusing.
So,
Well,
Misleading, I should say it's a misleading.
Mr. Coleman.
well, okay, hold on. Okay, objection sustained. You can rephrase your question.
Mr. Coleman asked you that it's true that alcohol metabolizes in the system.
Yes,
Okay. And that could be a reason why none was detected on the test.
yes, sir.
That's also consistent with what Ricky told you, right?
What do you mean?
Ricky told you he had, right before you pulled him over, he had one drink out of the Mike's Hard Lemonade, right? And that's all he had.
As far as the alcohol being involved for his impairment, yes,
Okay, I mean, that could also be another reason why they wouldn't have detected in Florida, right?
yes,
Okay. Now, what does it mean to metabolize?
can I answer that?
You just said alcohol metabolizes in the system.
From training, metabolizing, it goes through your body and it's no longer present in your body. I'm like,
It goes through your
I'm not a
body.
DRE, so I can't get up here and get technical.
That basically, in layman's terms, that's what it means. It goes through your body. If a substance is metabolized, it's going through your body, it's no longer present, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's true for alcohol and true for drugs.
Yes, sir.
So if that blood report shows that the cocaine present was metabolized, was metabolized for cocaine, and there's no cocaine in the system, right?
Objection, that's a misleading.
That's what he just
That's a
said.
misleading
Oh.
statement of fact.
Judge, he said it's gone through the system, it's no longer there.
Okay, objection overruled.
That's what.
I have no further questions for you to take a vote.
You have any further questions?
Hang on.
May this witness be excused or should he? You,
Subject to recall.
okay. Mr. Well,
I'll leave tomorrow.
We can talk about that. Let me know and then we'll talk. to-
okay, yeah, just, stay in the hallway. No, just what, you gonna,
Judge, I'll let you know why he needs to go that way.
oh,
He needs to go that way.
oh, okay, okay. Your next witness,
Take rest at this time.
We have a motion to make outside the presence of the jury.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, of the jury, we need a matter that needs to be taken outside of your presence. Would you please follow the bailiff into the hallway? You may be seated, Mr. Rojas. Let the record reflect that the jury is outside of the courtroom. And Mr. Rojas, you have a matter you'd like to bring up to the court?
At this time, we move for an instructed verdict. The evidence by the state's own evidence, the lab report submitted shows zero alcohol. Presence of cocaine metabolite, which the officer testified to, is proof that the cocaine has gone through the system. And there's no, it says PCP is detected, but it doesn't give any levels of PCP. I propose the state has not met its burden. I suggest ask the court to enter an instructed verdict of not guilty.
Okay, state.
The whole intention, the whole purpose behind instructed verdict is where we have failed to introduce any evidence, some evidence, on something or on an element. In our case, Judge, there is more than enough. There is some evidence here that this jury can rule that there was cocaine in this defendant's system, that there was PCP in the system, and alcohol for that matter, notwithstanding the fact that it wasn't reflected in the report. There is evidence in the record that this jury can infer that at the time of operating that vehicle, all three of those substances in combination could have been in this defendant's system.
Okay, Mr. Rojas, your motion will be denied.
I don't know when you're gonna bring the jury back in, but I need to speak with my client. He needs to go to the bathroom, and I need to speak with him for about 3 minutes.
Okay, well, court will be in recess. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Do we, okay. We still, okay, let me do this. The court will be in recess. Put this on.